Hey everyone, so welcome back to Geek Serum. So if you guys have not listened to our first podcast and do not know who we are two friends with similar interests and a passion for geek things, and we would like to invite everyone to our podcast and listen into our conversations and get your dose of Geek Serum. So if you guys would like to have us to talk about something that you really like to hear, just leave a comment. And if you really do like what we are doing, just give us a thumbs up. And because a little bit of encouragement will go a long way for us. So, on to Sean. So, Sean, like, what are we going to talk about today?
Okay, since we talked about the superhero movies that's coming out
Huh?
this year in our previous podcast, now we'll move on to the not really the TV side, but certainly like everybody's the certainly everybody know the term. Everybody knows this streaming service called Netflix, and now Marvel have a lot of really good shows that's available exclusively through Netflix. So we'll be talking about some of the shows that's been released by via Netflix in within the past few years.
Yes, I agree. But so to actually prepare for this podcast, like actually spend like I think it was 2.5 weeks. Is it 2.5 weeks? Like when you mentioned like we are gonna do this one. Oh, I've been catching up on so like almost all the Defender series, like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil.
Oh yeah, you binge
Yeah,
watch it
yeah,
in
man.
two weeks. That's quite an achievement. There's four
Thank you,
seasons
thank you.
worth of content in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, what I like about this the Defender series, like unlike the movies, right? You know how the movies they're all action packed and stuff like that. I feel like this Defender series is more like more relatable. It kind of just like also it shows the darker side of New York, like something that people do not expect, and like it kind of just it's just like the like really really gritty and like the ugly and the dirty side between gangs and superheroes you know but one of the things that really really peeves me, right, is the title Defenders, because as we all know, like if you're a comic book geek, like Luke Cage, he's the leader of this group called Heroes for Hire, but like instead they went with Defenders. So like I mean, like, what do you think about that, man?
But yeah, I think this is certainly something I've been said before because, like you mentioned, Dominic, the Defenders in the comics, they're actually a totally different group consisting of different members such as Doctor Strange, Namor the Submariner, the Incredible Hulk, and the Silver Surfer. So those are pretty much cosmic, almost cosmic level characters. So you won't really associate it with the street level characters such as Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. I think a
Uh-huh.
more suitable name, heroes other than Heroes for Hire, maybe a more suitable name would be something like Marvel Knights, which is
Oh
a
yeah,
line of
yeah.
that Marvel Comics did a while back that focuses more on their street level heroes.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yes, I think that might have been a more suitable name than the
definitely
Defenders.
agree, man. I mean, like, the Defenders is like first of all, like, Defenders like associated with another group of superheroes, and they are all like powered instead of like like what you said just now, like the street level superheroes. But okay, so moving on. Okay, first off, the first series that we're gonna talk about, that Netflix have kickstarted the Defender series, would be Daredevil.
Yep,
Okay.
Daredevil season one.
So I mean, first off, when I saw when I saw the show, I didn't have really high hopes like for the show, because like first off, like Daredevil is someone from New York, like like the New York style of talking and stuff like that. Um, and then they got Englishman to do it, but it's because like of that, like I didn't have like high hopes because like of the culture that's different, but like then again, I'm really really surprised he put it off.
Yeah, definitely. I think Charlie Cox surprised a lot of people with his performance as Matt Murdock slash Daredevil. I have never heard of this. I have heard of this actor before prior to his casting. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really a big film buff or TV buff, and I think So yeah, definitely he's not really those mainstream actors that you will see in those big Hollywood productions. But
Mm-hmm.
I think he really did a great job as Daredevil.
Uh-huh. Then
Yes.
like but one thing that kind of just like made me realize like do you like I've not like I'm not sure if anyone mentioned this before, but like the when Matt Murdock, okay, Daredevil, he puts on his his what do you call that, his costume, right?
Yeah.
He has this like he takes on this like really gruff voice. It kind of just like remembers like reminds me of Batman. And
Yeah.
then like he even like pretends to like he even threatens like the bad guy while holding him over the roof and goes like, where is he, you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
that is like something that they ripped off totally from Batman. But
Yeah, I think it's definitely the most notable is the Nolan Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy with Christian Bale. I think it isn't as pronounced as Bale did, which is totally like a very gruff voice, almost like people always like to make fun of it, like he had throat cancer or something. I don't think it was that bad in the Daredevil show compared to what they did with the in the Dark Knight series. Yeah.
but like what do you like about this series though? I mean like
Oh
for
yeah,
the
like
Daredevil itself, yeah. For
okay,
this season.
I'm not sure about you, Dominic, but for me, of all the Netflix shows, the content that Marvel Netflix content that's been released so far, I would say that overall the first Daredevil is still the number one for me in terms of its overall quality, and I think what really
Mhm.
works for Daredevil, I think, is the slow build up between both the hero and the villain.
Mhm.
Okay, Daredevil, he doesn't start out straight as Daredevil in the sense that he doesn't have the superhero costume until all the way to the end. Yes, he
Yes,
has a
yes.
costume of a sort, but it's more of a makeshift costume that was actually, it was this costume that was, it's based on the Frank Miller Daredevil comic, Man
Mhm.
Without Fear, which
Mhm.
was his early prototype costume before he got his red Daredevil costume in the comics. And
Mhm.
I think it works really well as you see him slowly progress from to being this hero that we know as Daredevil, and as well, not only that, you also have a slow build up to the Kingpin,
Oh
which is
yeah.
Wilson Fisk, which I think they didn't straight away show you the villain in the first episode. I think it
Yes.
was around the fourth episode, if I'm not wrong, that
Mhm.
before he was revealed in the series. So I think that the slow build up really did a great job building up the mystique of the villain of the big bad, especially in the first few episodes where you see all the gangsters talking about this kingpin guy, but you don't actually see him until a few episodes in.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
like when they introduced Kingpin, like okay, first of all, like back to his first prototype costume, right? When I saw the makeshift mask, I like I keep asking like to myself like, didn't anyone notice that he doesn't have eye holes in his mask? Like, how does he see? You know? But like, okay, never mind. Moving on. So when they first introduced Kingpin, I was like really surprised, like because I expect him to be like sitting like in some like Empire State Building esque level, like overlooking New York. But then again, like he's like really portrayed like in a way, like they made this super villain really relatable because like he he has it kind of just like he feels like really human instead of like the big bad guy sitting on top of a pyramid. And then I found it like really cute, like when he tried to talk to his wife to be Vanessa, like I would like to ask you out, like it's like and he looks so really awkward. He feels like an everyday person.
Yeah, I think they really did a great job of grounding Kingpin in the sense that he isn't this Kingpin in the comics. He doesn't have superpowers, but he's pretty strong, and he's always this sort of untouchable crime boss, which I think the show, while he's still in a way they did portray the untouchable crime boss aspect in certain ways, but he isn't the fully formed Kingpin yet, and you can see can really relate to his situation and his relationship with Vanessa, which I think they really did a
Mm-hmm.
good job of building.
Uh-huh.
But I'll agree that sometimes the awkwardness is a bit it's a bit weird, and you don't expect this
Yeah.
kind of thing from the Kingpin. And also, I think there's just this. Just really, there's this one scene between Kingpin and Madame Gao, one
Oh
of his
yeah.
associates, where he was speaking to her in Chinese, which I think was really awkward because you can see that the actor wasn't able to pronounce the Chinese
Oh,
properly,
oh, oh! Like,
and it was
wait,
just
I have to pause you. I have to stop you there. Like, when I listened to that, when the Kingpin like tried speaking Chinese, I was laughing my ass off. I mean, like, A for effort, first of all, but
yeah,
then again,
definitely.
like, he sounds like you know, like someone with special needs when he tries to speak Chinese.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
mean, like,
bad.
we just not to knock D'Onofrio's performance, which I think has been really great. I think he's one of the best Marvel villains that the Marvel Cinematic Universe have right now. But yeah, that was a really awkward scene that I just wish that he could have just speak to her in English. It's not as if
Yeah, yeah.
Madame Gao herself does not know how to speak English or doesn't understand English at all.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, that scene would have been much better in English because it wasn't supposed to be a comedic scene. But then
Yeah.
the way he was speaking, maybe it comes off a bit. It sets a wrong tone in a way.
Mm. But like But like, do you have anything else that you feel that you know, like, what makes Kingpin so like special? Like what like, as you say, one of the best villains ever portrayed within the Marvel realm.
It's more of the way I think it really is. It's because of the Netflix format. You mean I mean the most you can do in a 2 hour movie with the Avengers like heroes.
Uh huh.
You most of the time you will you want to spend it building up the heroes because that's your protagonist. That's the character that your audience is supposed to identify with. So you don't really have much time trying to build up the villains, which I and it's been a common criticism of the Marvel movies. While great, they have been pretty. There's a pretty big flaw in that most of the villains aren't really that great. They're just very generic. I want to conquer the world, etc.,
Oh
etc.
yeah.
Villains, except for a few, which is why the Netflix shows have, in my opinion, have the better villains because they have essentially a 13-hour movie to build up all the various plot lines, the heroes, the villains, the supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Is why the Kingpin had such a did is such a great villain in my opinion. There's lot more nouns in his character, and he was given the proper time to be. There was proper time given to his characterization and all the build up to him becoming the Kingpin in the end of the Daredevil season 1. So
Yes.
yeah, that's why I think he's one of the best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
Mm-hmm. That I totally agree, man. But okay, so before we move on to the next series that we're gonna talk about, there's this like, there's this one guy I feel that that I really want to give a shout out to, which is Ben Urich, or Urich. So he isn't as famous as superhero, but like Ben Urich in the Marvel universe, he is a legend because like uh he he is like, so he's, I would say, the first person to actually write article on the superheroes, like when the first fight between the first Human Torch, which, if you guys do not know, is Cyborg versus the Submariner, or 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 better known as Namor. But I mean, just like if you look at the Avengers movie, like all the fights are in New York, right? But Ben Urich, he kind of just like, his territory is in New York, where he reports everything. And by killing him, like, I feel that it's such a waste because they can do so much more with this character instead of just like killing him off like that, you
Yeah,
know?
I totally agree with you there, Dominic. Ben Orrich, like you mentioned, he's a really big deal reporter in the Marvel universe, and he's actually a pretty well known Daredevil supporting character. And in the Marvel universe, Marvel comics itself, he actually figured out Daredevil's secret identity without anybody telling him. He actually
Yeah,
figured
yeah.
out it was Matt Murdock. So, and he's such a actually, there's a lot more they could have done with him because they could have appeared throughout the Netflix series as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the other Netflix supporting cast that appeared throughout the four seasons of the Marvel Netflix shows. He could have been one of them as well. So yeah, killing him off was I would say is one of the rare wrong move in this season.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
feel.
man. So I mean, if like okay, now we are gonna like looking at Daredevil himself, right? Okay. Um, you know what? I think I'll just like leave this here because we're gonna talk about the next one, and I do not want to give any spoilers. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but before we move on to the next show, I just like to add that before we, why I considered Daredevil season one to still be the top Netflix Marvel Netflix show, because other than it was quite consistent throughout, and also because which the it did one thing right, which is it has a lot more mini villains scattered throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Then really, which makes it which like every few episodes Daredevil has like sort of a mini boss to fight before he reached the final boss, which is Kingpin.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was some there was and sure sort of there's a sort of motion, so
Mm-hmm.
locomotive, sort of like a train, there's a consistent motion throughout without anything derailing it in a sense, which I think is one of my criticism I have for the next show that we're talking about, which is Jessica Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the first season of Jessica Jones. So what do you think about that show, Dominic?
Jessica Jones. First of all, I went into the series blind because like Jessica Jones' story, she kind of just like goes. Her story pretty much goes everywhere. There's no like there's no like really solid plot line to her story. She kind of just is, I would say, maybe a C or B class level superhero. So I mean, I didn't really have high hopes for Jessica Jones, right? But then again, what I really like about the series is how once again I have to relate to like the Marvel movies or any superhero movies. The Jessica Jones, which and Luke Cage as well, which we will mention later, they feel really humanized instead of like those just like overpowered like OP superheroes where they do not have problems. Well, in Jessica Jones, like the problem, the what I really like about the story is like the psychological warfare that she has between herself and her past, and as well at the same time like she has this like she's contemplating whether to become a superhero or not, you know.
Yeah.
So that is like one of the highlights that I have to mention.
Yeah, okay. Jessica Jones is like I think I was similar as you. I've heard of the character, but I do not know much about the Jessica Jones herself. She was a fairly recent creation in the Marvel universe.
Yes.
So yeah, there's not much I know about her, and I do not read the comic series that she starred in previously, but Jessica Jones is surprised me in a lot of ways. In a good way, of course. They really show the inner struggle in Jessica herself.
Yes.
She can see that she really clearly wants to do. She wants to be a hero, she's but I can see that the past has also her past with Kilgrave, the villain,
Uh-huh.
also affected her really mentally as well, and she's constantly hiding this behind this cold exterior front that she's trying to hide from. And of course, the Purple Man Killgrave himself is another excellent villain, which, like I mentioned before, with Kingpin, the Netflix shows they have around 13 hours of content, so they were able to really build up the villain. And of course, it doesn't help that the Purple Man was being portrayed by David Tennant, a very charismatic British actor. So, what's your thought on the villain, Dominic?
Oh, the villain. Um, I love how deliciously evil he is. But at the same time, how would I say? He knows his limits, but like he in a way isn't as powerful as like Loki and the others, but like he really knows how to work his way around his powers, and then it's that mind of his. I would say like Purple Man in this series, he is really really unpredictable. Unlike other villains, like, oh, he's gonna run away and then he's gonna come back, but you kind of know that what he is gonna do next. But like for Purple Man, I mean, the story brings you like somewhere, and then like suddenly there's a 360-degree turn, and then you go like, oh shit, I didn't think of that, you know. So like,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. Sorry, you were saying before I interrupted you.
No, I mean, but like then again, although he has this power to like take over a world, but then again he doesn't, which I feel is kind of a surprise. I wouldn't say surprise, but like it's a really or a new take on the super velo, like super villain concept, um
Yeah,
but then again, like for me, I think his obsession with Jessica Jones is kind of too much, and then in the end, the I wouldn't say the show becomes draggy, because like they have Jessica is obsessed with like taking out Purple Man. Purple Man is obsessed with like reeling Jessica Jones in, and then it like I feel that if you throw in another supervillain, the story will work well, like in Daredevil season 2, but I don't know, the like I just like dragged on too long for me, as in like the character and the plot itself.
yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, I think yeah, the Purple Man is he's certainly a villain that knows his limitation. He's not looking to conquer the world, like they say. He knows his powers and abilities very well. He knows that he can manipulate and sort of mind control people into doing what he wants, which he used to a very devious effect throughout the
Uh-huh,
show. I
very.
mean, he's just being driven by his most inner desire, which is sort of wealth. I mean, he can mind control people to let let them allow him to stay at their home or have dinner with them, and he can even mind control women to do anything he wants with them, which is actually a very okay. It definitely it was very, which I applaud the show. They really tackled this rape theme, which
Mm-hmm.
is actually some shows might try to avoid because it's a very sensitive subject, and I really applaud the show for tackling the subject head on and showing the traumatizing effect that it has, particularly on Jessica herself, who was once Purple Man's victim. But I
Mm-hmm.
think there's also another problem that that you mentioned, which I definitely agree with you, which was the show is too draggy because well, I won't say that it's up in the air whether another villain would have definitely helped with the pacing of the show, but it's very obvious that they are sort of dragging their feet until the inevitable final showdown because there's really maybe only one villain. You can say that the Purple Man is perhaps the only villain in the show,
Yes.
and in order to build up to the final climax, they sort of have to let him let him get away in a few times. I mean, like once was okay, maybe once, sure. But then he escapes like I think twice or three times,
Yeah.
just because they are not just because Jessica has to keep him alive, which is, I mean, I applaud Jessica's efforts. Her reasons for keeping Kilgrave alive is reasonable. She wants to save the another character called Hope, which she identifies with because she's another victim of the Kilgrave who
Mm-hmm.
underwent similar traumatic experience.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, in the end, when how the show ended, you think maybe it was all for nothing because uh, she wanted to keep Kilgrave alive so that he could stand trial and Hope will be will not be convicted of the murder of her parents, which she was mind controlled into doing. But in the end, when Hope killed herself so that Jessica would not have the hesitation of killing Kilgrave, which she did in the final episode, so sort of feel like the whole spinning the wheel thing was for nothing because in the
Yeah.
end, she never achieved her goal of helping Hope be free from the accusations of murdering her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I think this is I would say it's some of the I would say it maybe perhaps a small criticism of the Netflix show will be instead of letting them have a because the it was I'm not sure I think it's perhaps the agreement between Marvel and Netflix is that they every season has to have to have 13 episodes because all the Marvel Netflix shows have 13 episodes
13
which
episodes.
yeah maybe the better way to have gone about it would have been to release to have decide on what's the episode count and you can defer it per season. Not necessary you need 13
Mm-hmm.
episodes per season, especially for in this case Jessica Jones. I think the trimming down of its episode count will help the show a lot because
Oh yes, definitely.
yeah maybe around 8 to 10 episodes, and perhaps Jessica Jones will have been the best of the Netflix series because you will feel that it doesn't drag. It goes all the way like there's the motion, the local again. I refer to my earlier example of the locomotive train. It doesn't get derailed. It just moves in a straight line, and bam, you reach the finale at the right moment, and the build up is perfect, and then you end it there. It would have been a lot better than the reaching the high around the midway mark and then going downhill a bit before the finale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the Netflix is definitely different from the standard network TV. For those some of our listeners who are not aware, the American TV shows have sort of different from the Singapore shows TV shows because the Americans they have seasons and the number of episodes is determined by the network themselves. Say, where maybe 22 episodes, but that's 22, 23 episodes is the standard for their network TV. But for Netflix, it's different because it's an online streaming service. The look at the other Netflix shows on like Stranger Things. They have around maybe 8 episodes
Ooh.
or something
Mm-hmm.
for the first season,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Jessica Jones will have benefited a lot from tweaking the episode count per season as the writing of the show demands it, instead of having a fixed episode order. What do you think about that, Dominic?
Well, I totally agree with you. I mean, like, because okay, like when you mentioned if you like looking back at Stranger Things, like we are sidetracking here. I mean, if Stranger Things actually dragged on furthermore, the story just wouldn't make sense, you know. As for Jessica Jones, I mean, like you said before, like if they actually do cut short the number of episodes to the season itself, um the Purple Man wouldn't seem like such a boring character, and then Jessica Jones would her obsession of like taking down the Purple Man would be, I would say, more thrilling instead of like, oh, I caught you, and he runs away, catches him again, he runs away again, you know. It kind of just like dulls down the fact that that I know I wouldn't say like it kind of just makes the Purple Man too easy to capture, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how many times can you catch the guy before he escapes, man?
Yeah, you know,
Please,
right?
come on.
It's like
I
what the
mean,
hell, man.
it sort of highlights how a little bit incompetent Jessica is to let the guy escape you twice. I mean, like sometimes it's okay. The I think the second time wasn't her fault, but come on,
Yeah.
just don't just just keep the episode count lower, and then you can totally avoid this situation.
Yeah, I mean like one like letting him go once is fine. Okay, two we can accept, like accept. Three times, no, too much already, man.
Yeah, I think twice is the maximum for me, man.
So twice is the maximum. Yeah, same here, same here. So okay. So one more thing that I have to add is like Luke Cage role in the whole Jessica Jones series. I mean I wouldn't I wouldn't take too long to touch on this because like his role is really small, but I feel that that Netflix really did a good job by introducing Luke Cage to actually further carry his story into his own series, you know.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Luke Cage had a yeah, I agree with you. Luke Cage had a minor role, but as he wasn't a really particularly well-known Marvel character before his show, so to have he introduce him in Jessica Jones
Yes.
first before leading to his series, I think it was a smart move by the writers and Marvel themselves. So I give the viewers a little taste of Luke Cage
Mm-hmm.
before sort of subtly setting him up for his own series, which they did in the near the end of Jessica Jones
Mm-hmm.
season one. Yeah,
So, now that we are mentioning Luke Cage, we are moving on to the next series, which is Luke Cage.
yeah, Luke Cage.
Okay, so for people who do not know, as Sean mentioned, who people who do not know who Luke Cage is, he like he is kind of like Superman, without the laser beam eyes, he can't fly. No frost breath. Pretty much take away all his powers. He only has super strength and he bullets. And he has what's that?
Yeah, bulletproof skin.
Bulletproof skin. Thank you. So that is Luke Cage. So, anyways, so after Jessica Jones series, Luke Cage, because he kind of moves to Harlem, where his wife where his wife grew up in. Okay, so one more thing, once again, what I really like about like this series is because Netflix, although someone with super strength and bulletproof skin, he still gets hurt in a way, but then again he still have life problems. So once again it's really relatable to the audiences. So, and what do you have to say about this series, though, Sean?
Luke Cage is sort of the everyman of sort of the has the everyman blue collar hero vibe. And I think the series overall it was pretty good. And I really like certain aspects of it, some aspects that I don't like. And for Luke Cage himself, I think in the I would say that the timing of the release the show was released in 2016. I
Uh
think
huh.
it's pretty timely. I would say, of course, for not particularly in Singapore for us, because it was, but particularly in America, because there's been a few cases of police brutality
Oh
in
yes,
America,
yes.
and some of those African American African American people being shot down by the police or
Mhm.
accusations of
Mhm.
police brutality against African Americans, and
Yes.
to have a African American superhero who is bulletproof, I think it's very relevant and very timely in the states.
I
And
wouldn't
also,
I wouldn't say like just because of the bulletproof skin that makes him make Luke Cage so significant. And I would say it's more of the plot line because like Luke Cage himself is from a good guy. He fell from grace and he was deemed a villain, but then again he worked his way back in up the system again, and he is seen as a hero. Like I mean, in even in our society, like as for a minority person who is a minority to be seen as a hero is really rare. So I mean, like this is I would say like because of this, in relation to what you said just now, is why Luke Cage is the release of Luke Cage is like what's that word again?
timely.
Yes, timely. Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, in certainly, I mean, the show did tackle some aspects of these sensitive political issues in the
Uh
series
huh.
itself. Then I also another thing that I really like about Luke Cage is the music, particularly at
Oh
the
yeah.
performance in Cornell Cottonmouth Stokes
Uh huh.
Harlem nightclub, where he
Mhm.
has a few performers on stage, and I think the music really suits the tone of the show, and it
Yes,
really
yes.
so gives a sort of a different ambience and tone compared to the other previous two Netflix shows.
And also, what's awesome is like every season, every episode, there's a different song which suits that season, the episode style. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And also, just like I mentioned beforehand, Cornell Cottonmouth Stoke, another great Marvel villain. Again, I
Mm.
like again the Netflix shows really did a great job in the villain aspect compared to their films,
Uh-huh.
and especially Cottonmouth is I won't say he's the best in my opinion anyway. But he certainly has a very interesting aspect when
Mm-hmm.
compared to his cousin Maria Dillard.
Mm-hmm. Or Black
You can see
Maria.
that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in the term Black Maria, in the comics, she's referred to as Black Maria in a very interesting sense that, especially when you look back at the flashbacks to the both of them,
Oh yeah.
whereas Maria was, whereas Maria was from young groomed to be a lawyer or a slash politician to benefit the to benefit
The community. Mm-hmm.
their family's crime community. Where she actually, but throughout the series, she's shown herself to be pretty fitting of in the role of the sort of the big boss behind the scene controlling everything
Mm-hmm.
compared to Cottonmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Cottonmouth, despite being a great villain, actually you can see that he's during the flashback he's in a very, I would say he's a little reluctant to take the role, but
Mm-hmm.
he's being groomed in that way, possibly because he's a maybe he's a guy. So and also I can see that actually all he wants to do is to pursue a music career because he has a natural talent playing the piano.
I mean, talking about Cottonmouth, right? I feel that he of of all the villains in Luke Cage, I think he is among that group. I think he's the best one, because like when Diamondback enters the when Diamondback enters the fray, Diamondback seems like every typical supervillain, you know.
Yeah, yeah, agree with you.
There's
A
like
bit more, a bit too mustache twirling. Oh,
yeah, it's like too much evil oozing out of him already, and he doesn't like it. Just kind of just feels fake, you know. It's just there's too much evilness of like too much villain in a person to actually make him feel he's fake. He isn't like he. I would say he's like really just too outside standing, you know. But Cottonmouth himself, like I prefer him like over Diamondback is because like you like what you said, he is the front man and he's being like the strings behind him like is being pulled to control him, and then like he's being met with dilemmas, and there was this point of time where he is actually afraid for his own life and he doesn't know what to do, you know.
yep.
So that makes like Cottonmouth like really awesome. And one more villain that I really like is Shades. That guy is cool as fuck, man. I mean that, oh my god, he is so cool. He it's like like that, you know, like that really low voice, and then like he is like so smooth and everything, especially like where the fight scene where he have with Zip and his crew, like wow, that is just like whew, it's like like really awesome, you know.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
uh-huh.
yeah, like you say, Diamondback, a little like little too mustache twirling, little disappointing in the sense that given the build up to him, I mean, he's supposedly Shade's boss in the show,
Yes, yes.
and he's sort of the one behind even Cottonmouth's operation in a sense
Uh-huh.
that even Cottonmouth was reporting to Shades and Shades was reporting to Diamondback. So Diamondback seems to be like the big end game boss in a sense. And he built him up and then he just appears, and if he appears and he has this intense hatred of Luke Cage, which we learn is because he Luke's half brother. I mean
Mhm.
they didn't, maybe because I don't know, I don't, I wouldn't say I dislike the connection between Diamondback and Luke, but it
Yes.
just feels very forced. Like, oh,
Mhm.
you're my half brother, and I hate you because you always get dad's attention.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
kind
and
of just
then
like feels like a spoiled kid, like he's like, oh, I'm jealous, you know.
yeah, and also the final fight between Luke and Diamondback,
Mhm.
really disappointing in a sense that
Yes.
there's quite a decent build up to it, and then just fight in the street with people cheering them on. I mean, it doesn't even feel like a because Luke has super strength and Diamondback wears this suit that gives him super strength as well. But then it just feels like two guys, normal guys, punching each other, and that's it. That's like what
I mean,
that all the build up to this.
like in relation to that, like when Luke was being asked like oh, how did you know? There's like, oh, I realized like the less I challenged him, like the less power he will get. And then at the end, like when he has this like it's like you know that end scene where he's like sitting there and then he's giving this like really cliche hero talk and all the bullies like dropping everything what they're doing and then just like standing there listening to him. I'm like, come on now. I mean, you're building up this really like really. I wouldn't say like really awesome character or like really awesome episode. But like after the big fight, you don't just like throw in something cliche. It kind of just like kills the mood, you know.
Yeah. The final fight scene was very disappointing in that sense. It's very a little anticlimactic for my taste.
Uh huh.
Yep.
Like
But
uh huh.
yeah, but like you mentioned, Shades definitely a better bad guy than even Diamondback. Like
Yeah.
why is Shades even reporting to Diamondback, man?
Oh yes, definitely. And you like I think they really did Shades justice because like from just a henchman he becomes the big boss, you know.
Yeah, he's I would say the big boss, but in the sense that he's cunning and he sees the situation and he flips and he can decide to flip flop according to whatever
Uh-huh,
suits him
yeah.
best. I mean, he doesn't really aspire to be the boss in a sense, but he's just willing to be the right hand man of whoever's in charge. In a sense that after be, after Diamondback betrayed him, he went to Maria. Uh he 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 noticed Cotton initially he noticed Cottonmouth's failure in the sense
Uh-huh,
that
yes.
Cottonmouth was still obsessed with Luke. So he sees Maria as a more suitable boss, so he props her up and he helps her to build the position that we find Maria in at the end of the season.
I wouldn't
And
say
she's just
prop her up though. It's more like manipulated her into the thing.
maybe a bit of manipulation, but in
Uh-huh.
the sense that he's willing to just be the right hand man. He isn't overly ambitious to be the leader of everything, but he's willing to just play the situation as it suits him best.
Mhm. Mhm. So one more character that I want to mention is like Misty Knight. I can't wait for her to actually have that bionic arm, man.
Yeah, I mean they tease a bit in the end where she said that if really they say that if she doesn't get her treatment in time, she might lose her arm. So I was thinking,
Yeah.
is she gonna get her bionic arm in the comics?
But
So yeah, we didn't get anything out of that
I
for
mean,
now.
if yeah, for now. But if the thing is like the thing I'm really worried about if they're gonna do another Luke Cage season two, like maybe before the Defenders or after Defenders, Misty Knight is definitely going to be in the fray, right? Like with her bionic arm, she's gonna kind of just like run around like solving like helping look out with all the crimes and stuff. I'm just like worried that it will become a Batman and Robin duo, you know. Like she in the end she becomes a sidekick instead of a partner.
Yeah, I think Misty Knight. Hope not. I hope not. I mean, of course, I would think that Misty Knight will definitely appear in a future season of Luke Cage. So regarding the bionic arm and when she will get it, it's still up in the air. So,
Uh huh.
but I think she has a very interesting story of her character arc of her own throughout the show.
Uh huh. Yes,
Especially
definitely.
when she learns that her mentor and her partner, detective,
Oh,
if I pronounce his name correct, Shave.
I think it's scarf. Wait.
Yeah, it's staff for Shave. Yeah, it turns
Yeah.
out he was working for Cottonmouth. And then she sort of learns that her mentor and the one that she trusts the most turns out to be a traitor, so to say. And then she doesn't trust the system, but in the end, it bites her in the behind
In the
when,
ass. Uh huh.
yeah, in the ass when, because she doesn't trust the system, the witness she was trying to protect got killed.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they couldn't build up a case to to bring down Maria, which is why Maria in the end managed to build herself into a position
Mm-hmm.
of power.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on. The last series that we're gonna talk about tonight. Um, Once again, Daredevil, but season two. So, what's the opening season for you like?
Season two, yeah, I would say that the first few episodes of season two is perhaps one of the actually if we I would say that the first four episodes of the Daredevil season two is perhaps the best of the all the Netflix episodes for me anyway because I think they really did a good job. For those of course for those of you who are not aware, but they introduced the Punisher in the second season, and right from the start, you see those criminals and the mobsters being gunned down by some mysterious person, but which we all know to be Frank Castle.
Yes.
And they really did a solid job building the conflict between him and Daredevil and their sort of opposing ideology regarding the fighting crime.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Castle believes in that all criminals are scums and deserve to be killed, whereas Daredevil believes in the legal system, seeing as he's a lawyer himself.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of see this conflict of ideology come to a head, and then sort of builds up all the way to the end of, I won't say the end of Punisher's arc, but at the end of episode 4, we are between this scene between Daredevil and Frank Castle himself, where Frank sort of narrates his origin in a way to Daredevil, and it's just really touching. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the actor John Bernthal, he really did a solid job as Frank Castle.
I would say like you mentioned, I would say throughout the whole season, I think episode four will be the highlight of the season. I mean, like what you mentioned before, there's this like good and bad guy, like this superhero and anti superhero kind of like persona between Daredevil and the Punisher. Like they were like arguing over who deserves to die and who doesn't, you know. But one of the things that I really like is how they one of the things that I like about this Frank Castle that comes in within the first four episodes is that he 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 that he can actually get hurt, you know, like even without the skull. I mean, they really play his character like really well. Like he even mentions that he smokes cigarettes, like which we are really familiar with the Punisher on his comic book covers, you know. And then another thing is like I don't know, like for me, I'm all about fight scenes like for this one, but I feel that the best fight scenes that really stand out, like other than the first episode where everyone start dying because of the Punisher. One of the thing is like the fight scenes that stands out would be when Daredevil saves the Punisher twice in a building swarmed with bikers, and the other one will be from the mob hunting down the Punisher. You know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say that the Daredevil series has the best action out of all the Netflix shows
Yes, definitely.
because I think in a case because Daredevil, unlike Jessica and Luke Cage, he's more of a martial artist.
Uh-huh.
So you definitely have these cool fight scenes. Of course, in season one, there was this famous hallway fight scene where they did this one take fight scene
Oh yeah.
when he saved the little kid, and I think they really show that they really one up that fight scene in season two, like
Yes.
which is the fight scene that you mentioned,
The building one,
where
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
the building one where he fights the whole biker gang from whichever floor he was
That is
at,
crazy,
all the
man.
way down the stairs to the first floor. Yeah, that was insane, and it definitely wasn't a one take fight scene, but you can see that it was edited to look like that. But I think it was really well done, and it's just insane in a good way.
Yeah. Okay, so what after the Punisher gets I wouldn't say captured, but like he gets sent to prison. Okay. Uh, in comes Elektra. You know, but like Elektra wasn't. I wouldn't. I would say like compared for those who have watched Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. I would say that although the movie is bad, I feel that Jennifer Garner actually does a better Electra than this Electra in the season. Although this Electra is part Asian, so that's a plus there. As close to the storyline. But like this Electra in the show, I would say she just sounds too prim and proper, unlike the Electra that I have in mind. Like because Electra herself, like although she comes from a rich Japanese corporation, like which, but then again, it kind of just like the season strays away from her comic origins because like in the comic, Electra was raped, she was like somewhat kind of brainwashed, but like for the comic one, she is just adopted by a rich family. So I would say if they are able to bring in the comic aspects into the season itself, it will make the show more grittier, more grimier, make it even more darker, and maybe at the same time like like because in the season like Elektra actually brings out the dark side of Matt Murdock, but or the Daredevil. But I feel that if they actually bring in the comic aspect into the show, we are able to see a even darker side of Matt Murdock, like on the brink of considering whether to kill or not to kill. It's like really evil person, but not try hard like Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, Electra, I wouldn't say she's, I'm not really too familiar with the character, but I wouldn't say that she was portrayed very badly, but then in the sense that there are certain aspects that I like about her character in the show and certain things that I didn't like. Electra, I did not watch the Jennifer Garner Electra movie. I only watched the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and I thought she was okay in that movie. But as for the new actress Elodie Young, if I
Uh-huh.
pronounce her name correctly, I think she did a decent job, but not particularly. I would say that aspect that I liked the most about her character was, like you mentioned, the way she sort of brings out Matt's darker side.
Uh-huh.
In the sense that Matt is always trying to get her not to kill, and in a sense, you can see that she's struggling with that as well. In a sense that you can see that she does indeed want to kill, but because of her love for Matt Murdock, she chose not to in certain fight scenes. She sort of stops herself because she wants to be the person that Matt thinks she can be. And in the same time, whereas for Matt, because of Elektra's entrance into his life, he was sort of neglecting his Matt Murdock persona. As you can see in the later seasons, uh, later part of the episode where he gets the where he was unable to attend the Punisher's trial case, and it was up to his partner Foggy Nelson to take up the bulk of the case.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm, I feel that I would like with your like what you mentioned about like Electra's her conflict within to be like good and bad. Um, it's like there's this scene where she is in where she was supposed to go with Stick, you know, Stick, right? And then like
Yeah,
she decided not to, and she wants to stay with Matt Murdock because Stick is this that I would say like that so called kung fu master, but like he would be someone like the Punisher who isn't afraid to kill. But between Matt Murdock, like the pacifist, um and Stick, like the killer, like having be a torn between these two person who actually mean so much to her in her life. Electra actually decided in the end decided to go with Daredevil, which I would say is really hard for her to make a choice like that.
yeah. Actually, I think, like I mentioned just now, I think it sort of goes against her. It's sort of like what she wants.
Mhm.
She went with her better nature, which is to stay with Matt. And I think, in a sense that Stick Stick is more of this. Even though he is Matt's mentor, he sort of has this for everything for the sake of his own of the mission. In a sense that he was willing to kill, whereas Matt wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so for Elektra to get caught in these two dilemma, and then she chose a better side, which is a good character arc for her. But in the end, I would say that compared to the Punisher, the first half of the season with the Punisher, the Elektra storyline and the Hand, it was definitely a drop in quality,
Yes,
which I think
definitely.
season two, it could have reached the heights of season one if the Hand storyline was done much better.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first four episodes of the Punisher was stellar, but
Yes.
after that, I'm not sure whether maybe partly because of the villain Nobu,
Mm-hmm.
who's the leader of the Hand. I mean, you see him in the first season, and then he appears again, but he's not a very memorable villain, unlike Kilgrave or Kingpin. And then after that, the fight scene was still amazing throughout, but then in the end, they sort of I would say they feel rushed the ending in a sense. They kill off Elektra, but it seems to be hinting towards a larger storyline further down the road, perhaps
Mm-hmm.
maybe the Defenders or something.
Like, okay, so to actually wrap things up, right? Of all four seasons, there's this pattern to the Defender series. Okay, it's like there's this build up. It's also pretty much the storyline is like a roller coaster. There's this climax, and then it drops it down to like a plot line which is kind of like like I wouldn't say mediocre, but an average plot line, and then climax again. But when it reaches the end, the story in the end like always rushes towards the end point, and then all the build up right seems for naught. You know, it kind of just like ends there. Villain loses the end.
Yeah, yeah. The ending, I would say that the Netflix series sort of have the ending isn't bad per se, but it's not the most memorable. Like you can see the pattern in the sense that it sort of peaks around a certain episode and then it sort of trails off a bit to the end.
Uh huh.
Maybe perhaps, like I mentioned, perhaps it could be due to due to the episode count, which I think like maybe you trim off a bit of the fat, it might work much better. And then sort of with the trimming of the fat, you can sort of rework certain scenes to build up to the climax, and then you sort of get any on a more satisfying note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the build up to the Defenders, it's interesting, and I think I certainly hope that the Defenders sort of can avoid this problem, and I hope so. Seems to have a shorter episode count than the rest of the Netflix shows. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
around 8 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And we will, of course, there's another Netflix Marvel Netflix show before the Defenders, the last one, Iron Fist.
Oh
But of
yeah.
course, we haven't seen the both Iron Fist and the Defenders, and I'm sure we'll probably have our say on these two shows once we are able to view them this year.
Definitely. Okay, so I do have a few questions at the end of Daredevil though. I mean, if you look past the other series, the ending of every season builds up into the next series, like how Jessica, her story builds up into Luke Cage, and from Luke Cage it builds up into Daredevil because like Claire Temple mentioned that, oh, I know a lawyer, and then for the Daredevil second season, like I'm wondering like if because Frank took out the ninjas with his sniper rifle, so does he know who Daredevil is? Because like in the show itself, you only his back is facing the Punisher, but we are not sure whether the Punisher has seen his face. And the other thing is how will the revealing of his identity to Karen affect the next season? And also, will Elektra get a memory wipe? Because like there's a mention that Elektra will be brought back into into the series, but like I don't know like how the Defender series is gonna go from there. I mean, there's so many questions that needs answering.
Yeah, I think regarding the whether Frank knows Matt's identity as Daredevil, I think it's yeah. I mean, Daredevil's back was faced against the Punisher, but then again, we can be certain that his secret is safe with Frank. Frank isn't the talkative type that will go and leak his secrets to anybody. But regarding Matt's decision reveal his identity as Daredevil to Karen. I think it could be a build up to season 3.
Uh-huh.
Especially, of course, we did not mention that Daredevil season 2 did include a small cameo by the Kingpin, who's in jail.
Oh yeah.
And of course, there's this short interaction between Kingpin and Matt himself. That sort of seems to lead. It's sort of a small. It seems to me there's like a small hint to what season 3 could be, in the sense that the Kingpin seems to suspect there's something more to Matt than being a blind lawyer, because
Yes.
he has someone go and research. He asks one of his henchmen to do a background research on Matt. So I think it could be leading to this famous Daredevil storyline called Daredevil Born Again. Just I'll give a quick recap for our listeners who are not familiar with it. The main gist is that the Kingpin has learned the identity of Daredevil, and he has proceeded to sort of torment Matt in a sense that torment Matt in a sort of do a systematic breakdown of all his personal life, and from there Matt has to rebuild himself and Daredevil to take on the Kingpin. And I have a feeling this could be the lead up to that in season 3.
Ooh, I would love to see that, man.
Yeah, there's as for Electra and whatever the Hand is doing with her, I think it could possibly be a tease to the Defenders. I'm not so sure.
Mm-hmm.
Part of why I feel is that way is because the showrunners for Daredevil season 2, which is they are also the same showrunners for the Defenders. So I have a feeling that this probably be something that's going to get picked up in the Defenders. Also partly because the actress who plays Electra, Elodie Young, she's been confirmed for the Defender series.
Mm.
So I won't say I'm 100% sure, but definitely at least 90% sure the storyline is going to get addressed in the Defender series.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, so that will be the last series we are talking about today, and I just realized I didn't mention my name at the start of the show. So, my name is Dominic, and together with my friend.
Yeah, I'm Sean. Hi.
So we would like to thank you guys for taking your time to listen to us discuss about the Defender series, and we really do hope that you have gotten your dose of Geek Serum. And also, if you guys would like to listen to us, like us to talk about anything that you are interested in, like anything geeky, like movies, games, or something like that, feel free to put down your comments, and do give us and let us know what you think, and also tell us what you think about the show. And if you do like what we are doing, do subscribe and like, because we are a local geek podcast, and a little bit of encouragement does go a long way for us. And we, in the future, we might bring in more people on board to discuss more geeky things. So that would be all from us. Anything you would like to add, Sean?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that like what Dominic said, just feel free to post your comments on what you think of the Netflix shows, and what you would like us to talk about. Any geeky stuff, games, Star Wars, something, anything, and then we'll try to accommodate your interest if possible.
Mass Effect Andromeda might be a topic that we will be talking about, and as well as Star Wars, but those are in the works. So so anything to add? No.
Yeah, man, that's all for me. And also, if you like our podcast, please subscribe and like. Also, it definitely is a encouragement to us as well. I mean, to know that there's people out there that enjoys our podcast.
Yeah. So, anyways, that will be all from us. My name is Dominic.
And I'm Sean. Thanks for listening.
Yes, we hope that you have gotten your dose of Geek Serum. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.